Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers, putting suckers in fears, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom, explosions, overpowering. Over the competition, I'm towering, wrecking shop when I write these lyrics that make it call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition's paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. Hello, my name is Fitz, and we are the Crunchy Duck Gamers.
Woo! Yeah.
Welcome back. This is a comeback. I'm here with some losers. Introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Logan.
And I'm Russell.
And we are the new and improved Crunchy Duck Gamers.
Crunchy Duck Gaming 2.0, baby.
Bada
Woo!
bing, bada boom. Realest dudes in the room. How you doing?
We
All
are
right.
back.
This time with wife.
Back in the New York groove.
Back in the New York groove.
Anyway,
All right, so we got a great show, huge show for you today. My God, this show is huge.
this is going to be really special.
It's gonna be really special. We have some special guests, and his name is James Fitzgerald. He's the best specialist guest we could have.
Specialist guest.
Yes, specialist guests.
So we're talking about some of our games. We're gonna get a little bit into Zelda.
A lot of it into Zelda.
A lot of it into Zelda, actually. Yeah, that's gonna be the main part of this episode, the main dish, if you will. First, let's get into what we're playing. Logan, what are you playing?
Well, I am the resident idiot who bought a Switch day one. So I'm playing Zelda Breath of the Wild like everybody else that I know, besides you guys.
Logan, I'm going to interrupt. I thought you were about to say, I am the Resident Evil, and I was like, Logan, that's kind of a strange way to introduce yourself.
Well, I mean, I've been called
Resident
that once or
Evil.
twice. But yeah, I'm playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm going to keep mine short because, that's literally what this episode is about. And I'm also playing Rocket League.
You're always playing Rocket League.
I literally will never not be playing Rocket League.
Your name is Logan Rocket League.
Yeah.
Logan Rocket League. Last name.
Thanks.
Logan Rocket,
That's me.
the Crunchy Duck Leaguer.
Logan Rocket League Redacted.
What's everybody else playing? What else is everybody else playing?
So Tyler, what you playing right now?
I've been playing the living F word out of Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Keep it clean, kids.
It is everything I wanted it to be and more.
Tell us
What did
about
you
it.
want it to be?
I was really. It looked from all the previews and everything. When I was following it, it looked kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5 mixed with Ghost Recon and like
Just Cause.
multiplayer squad combat, and it's everything. It delivers on that, and it delivers on everything else.
And I heard the customization is like incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. From somebody. I can't think of who I've heard that from.
It's probably from
Yeah, because you wouldn't stop about how much customization there is.
because you could customize the individual pieces of the gun.
Like
Wow.
the clip or the
So you
magazine.
can have like a Hello Kitty
You
grip.
can do clip size, barrel size, sights, stock. You can choose what kind of trigger you want. It's insane.
Wow, you can pick the like how many triggers are there? Like
Well, your choices are full auto and single shot, or you can do full auto and burst, or you can do single shot and burst.
like I thought it meant
That's
like
pretty
the
cool.
look
So like
of
firing
the trigger.
style. Oh no! I mean, I haven't come across that yet, but I wouldn't count that out.
Okay.
There's also a ton of paint and color options for the guns as well.
Can I have a Hello Kitty gun? That's like all I want in life.
You can make it pink if that'd be the closest thing you can get.
Flowers.
Man.
I actually don't mess
Flowers.
with the paint, so I honestly don't know.
God, that's the best part, dude.
I don't paint my weapons.
Can you
Why
can
not?
you pick flowers
'Cause I'm not a
and
plebe.
put them in your hair?
Yes.
No, but you can wear a ghillie suit,
A what?
which is kind of like putting flowers in your hair.
It's a little bit. More on that
ghillie
later.
A ghillie suit is what is like the leaf coverage that snipers would wear.
Yeah, you know, like that really cool level in Call of Duty 4, all gillied up.
Oh,
No.
such a good level. That's one.
Oh
Whatever.
yeah, because Logan doesn't believe in Call of
I
Duty.
don't. I believed in Black Ops 2, 3, whatever the one was.
Oh, why? That's like the worst.
Yeah, I know. And that I was like, all right, I'll give it a
You
shot.
picked the wrong time to believe in
Right.
that.
I was like, okay, I'll give it one shot, one opportunity.
And you gave it Black Ops 3.
Yeah. Black Ops 3, and it sucked.
Yeah, you gave it Black Ops 3. That was the chance you
Black
gave Call of Duty.
Lobster
Yeah, no,
3.
it didn't work out for me. It was awful.
Black Lobster 3.
Black.
The lobster.
All right, what are you playing, Russ?
I have one more thing to say.
Oh.
But Wildlands, let's go. Come on. One thing I was real worried about with Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I'm still a little bit worried about, is that, I don't know, to me it doesn't look... It looks more like a Just Cause game than it looks like a Ghost Recon game. Does that have any validity?
Sort of. It would be Just Cause in the same way that it's open exploration, do whatever you want. However,
Attach
it's,
rockets to cows.
Easily the best part.
All right, not quite that. But there's different regions around this gigantic map, and you go to the different regions. There's different story missions for each region. The whole point is to take down the Santa Blanca cartel piece by piece. So you have to take out all the underbosses that are in each region in order to get to the main big baddie guy.
Underboss, I like that.
So in a way, it's Just Cause in that you can go about it in whatever direction you want, but it's not in the way that it's much cleaner.
Okay.
Okay. That's cool. That's something I was really worried about, even playing the beta. Because it doesn't look like Ghost Recon Island Thunder, or Ghost Recon Island Storm, or even Advanced Warfighter. But
it's a totally different take on Ghost Recon.
yeah, it definitely looks like that, and it's not.
It's like a rebirth, I would say.
And it's not a bad thing, but for me, I remember playing Ghost Recon when I was young, and just having a load of fun of a tactical shooter like that. But this looks fun too. I'll probably might get it.
Like
one day.
it looks, because I've only played like the first Ghost Recon, the one where it's like one hit, one kill with everything, including yourself. And to me, this looks like just a giant open world version of The Division, which is already a giant open world game, but this time it's set in the jungle.
It's actually set in the entirety of Bolivia.
Oh, that's a big area.
Yeah, like I said, the map is huge. It's twice the size of Skyrim.
That's not saying much. Skyrim's kind of...
Ty, have you tried the multiplayer on it yet?
Actually, yes, I tried it last night.
How is it?
I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay.
Here's my immediate issues with it. When somebody joins your session, you don't have any on your map. If you do all the intel and find out where all the locations of all the extra stuff is, it'll show up on your map. However, if somebody joins your game, you don't see what they have already picked up or unlocked. So you're basically going off word of mouth on where you're going and what missions you're doing, what people haven't done what.
Can you set a waypoint to where you're going?
You can, yeah. When you set a waypoint on the map, it'll show up for everybody.
All right,
So I'm getting the vibe that it's not really like a traditional deathmatch type of thing. Like, what is it?
No, you can. I have some other things I want to mess with it because I just got to try the multiplayer last night.
Okay.
I was playing with a couple friends of mine.
not us.
I'm
Believe it or not, he has other
iffy
friends.
about it as of right now because, like I said, you don't know what your party members or squad members have done or haven't done. So you literally are relying on talking to each other and trying to communicate, which is, I guess, fine, but at the same time, it makes things a lot easier if I already knew what they had to do, or what they don't have on their maps, etc.
Any last comments?
I love it. It's so fun.
All right.
All right. So Russell and probably me as well. What are you playing?
I thought like Wildlands was supposed to come out at the end of the year, and I was just completely just flabbergasted. Like, oh yeah, it came out in March. Oh shoot, I don't have the time or the money to play
It's
this
fantastic.
right now.
Way too many good freaking games in March.
Yeah,
What
it's
the
like
hell?
March. What happened? Why do you have 4 or 5 major titles coming out? Because we've got Mass Effect coming out soon, and some of us are excited for that.
2.
Yeah, 2.
Exactly.
And then one game that I know Fitz and I have been playing pretty religiously is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Awful name, by the way.
Yeah, it's like it sounds like a cheesy, like really bad anime. To be honest,
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
like-
accurate.
it's like next on Toonami, Horizon Zero Dawn, where we
perfect.
come
That
to our
sounds
protagonist, Aloe, who is fighting the evil robots that look like chickens.
Literally an anime.
Yeah.
But now Dragon Ball Z.
Did you pronounce her name wrong on purpose?
I did, yeah. Aloe. Yeah, so in Horizon Zero Dawn, you play as the protagonist, Aloy. It's Aloy.
I thought it was Alloy.
I thought
No,
it was
it's
too
Aloy.
until I played it.
Wow.
They're like Aloy. Yeah, everyone in the game has like weird sounding names that don't they don't sound like they'd be pronounced.
Literally
like,
unplayable. If it's not Alloy, unplayable. No.
No, it's Aloy. But the game itself is it's. Fitz and I were discussing this last night because we're at different parts of the game, but we were doing a group chat, just like discussing what we were doing and our thoughts on the game. And we were being super nitpicky because the game is just so good.
Okay. What are
Yeah,
the
we're
things that
saying
you're
things
nitpicking
like
about?
we're saying things like, oh, the dodge timing's a little off.
Wow.
Like
And
dodge
I really
timing,
wish like the melee was a little bit faster, just a little
it's
bit.
like maybe if the melee controls were a little bit tighter, or maybe like if you could, because in the game it's like you use a bow and arrow a lot. It's like, oh well, you can't switch which shoulder you're aiming from because it's third person.
Yeah, the
it's like,
spear
oh.
disappears when you put it on your back. Like,
Yeah, and like nitpicky things like that. But the game itself, for a PlayStation game, is almost to the level of like Witcher 3 on PC on highest settings.
That's awesome.
It is gorgeous, and it runs really well. Like high frame rate, low stuttering. The graphics and just the scenery is just gorgeous, and the level of detail is just extraordinary.
How big is the map?
It's huge.
I don't actually know like the actual like logistics of how big it is, but if you just look at the map on the game screen, it's a lot bigger than what it looks like when you're just
Yeah.
looking at the map.
Yeah, what'll happen is that like you'll look at the map and you'll be in this one section that's like woodland snow area, and it's like, oh, I thought this map was bigger. Then you realize that you're not zoomed in, or you're zoomed in, so you zoom out, and then you go, oh shoot, there's so much more to do.
I love games like that.
Yeah, because it's like it has like the standard areas where you have like the snowy woody area, the mountains. I just discovered the desert area last night that was filled with everything that was trying to kill me.
Oh, good.
Which it's huge, and there's so much to do in the game. Like I've had the game since it came out, and I think I've done like maybe 4 or 5 story missions.
Oh, man.
Like I've just been doing
Wow.
side
Now,
quests.
hear me out.
That's about
I
how
have a
much I've done, and you have like
I have some questions as
15
well.
more
while
hours than
God's
I do.
Yeah, all right. Question.
Yeah.
As a guy that was just really intimidated by The Witcher 3's size, am I going to feel the same about Horizon?
No, because this map is a lot better about like how much stuff there is. Like The Witcher 3, you find one thing, 4 more things show up. You find one thing in this game, that thing disappears, and nothing else shows up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
That's
lot more
comforting.
manageable, and it's not as the gameplay itself is not as complicated. Like in The Witcher 3, you always have to like collect resources, like, and you have to do this as well, but it's in a smaller scale. It's more manageable. It's like Fitz and I were discussing this. Like the gameplay itself is pretty simple, and the crafting mechanics and everything is pretty simple. It's just the combat against the robots becomes it's intense, and it's a lot of fun because even if you go against a certain type of enemy like dozens of times, if you make a mistake, it will kill you. It will do damage.
Like against like right now I'm level 25. And like I'm not that too worried about Watchers, the weakest enemy in the game. But if I like dodge at the wrong time, or if I miss like an arrow,
or if
that
they
Watcher
blindside
can
you.
the weakest enemy in the game could potentially kill me in 2 hits.
That's awesome. You have to always be on your guard.
Yeah, it's very
Yes.
much like you are a human versus giant robot monsters.
That's cool. Also, one other question that I had. You mentioned the crafting already, but can you craft on the go, like as you're fighting something?
Yeah, you can. You have to craft ammunition on the go, and the nice thing is that you just press the L1 button, and time actually slows down.
Oh, nice.
So you actually have the time to be like, oh, this is what I need. Okay, and it's really fast. You just press and hold like the X button, and it'll craft it. Right now, since I'm a high enough level, I can craft like 12 arrows at a time. And if I just press and hold X, I can just like churn them out in a matter of seconds.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't take too long to do that.
I have some questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
To start with, I admittedly have not done a terrible ton of research about this game. My biggest fear is not having anything to get into as far as story wise. So, what is the overarching story of the game?
I don't want to get into too much because it's a rather new game.
Right. Just what would be the hook of the game? I guess would be the question I'm asking.
So the cool thing about this game is that it's yet again like another post-apocalyptic world, but you don't know, like as the player that it's a post-apocalyptic world, to a degree. It's like your character, all they know is that there was a race called the Old Ones, and that technology is forbidden in these basically tribes. And I think the game actually takes place, I think, in Colorado, based on some of the things that I found.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Castle. I don't think it's in Colorado.
You what?
That's in the UK.
Yeah. I think it takes place in the UK.
Okay.
Wait, what did you just say?
There's a monument that looks exactly like Edinburgh Castle.
Okay, because
I haven't seen that.
There's another monument that I think it's a naval academy that is in Colorado, but I might be mistaken on that.
Well, it can't be UK because there's a desert region.
It could also just be an amalgamation of the entire world.
Yeah, it could.
True.
Yeah,
it could also be a video game, right?
No, not true, not possible.
But it kind of starts out in like tribal, like try and find out who you are type thing, because your character is what's known as an outcast by the main tribe, and you're an outcast. You were raised by an outcast, and the game kind of starts off with you trying to find answers as to why you're an outcast, and then it kind of starts out a little slow and boring because it's showing you the world kind of like step by step type thing, and then some kind of annoying cutscenes where it's like this should be a gameplay moment that's teaching me how to climb, but there's a cutscene showing me how to do it. Okay. But then from there, once you get past like a certain point, it just exponentially goes up interest level wise and what's happening in the game.
Yeah, because Aloy is a very interesting character. Source of personality, you can vary it through conversation choices, but it's still still remains engaging.
Like strength, logic, and heart are the three choices.
So they can try stats says okay.
Do they affect story at all?
Not that I have noticed, because I've spent more time exploring the world.
True.
No, I don't think it may affect how certain characters react to you, but I don't think it really changes the story at all.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Fitz and I have been super nitpicky with it, but the game is it's so much fun, especially when the thrill when you go against a giant monster. Like there's a type of creature called a snapmaw, which is basically like a giant crocodile / alligator that can breathe fire.
Dude, I can't wait to play.
And the snapmaws, they'll behave like actual crocodiles. If you get too close to water and you don't notice them, they'll launch out of you out of the water.
Whoa.
It's really cool.
That is awesome.
It's also terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, terrifying. But
it's awesome, and the thrill of taking giant monsters down is just extraordinary.
Right. Every time you take down a metal monster for the first time, you feel like you accomplished something big.
Oh, even for the third, fourth, or fifth time.
Yeah.
There's another monster called a Thunderjaw, which is basically a giant T-Rex with laser cannons.
What?
Incredible.
Yes.
Hold on.
It's in the last area in the game. It's
One more time?
Before the desert.
Did you say T-Rex with freaking laser cannons?
Yeah,
Yes.
And the cool thing is you can actually tear off the laser cannons using your weapons.
Yeah, aren't there weak spots and stuff they have to find?
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, you have to scan each creature and find the weak spots, but you have to do it very quickly, and it's like a rock, paper, scissors game of finding the weak spot and what weapon is critical against it and what monster is weak and strong against, like, what element. Like, there's some enemies that you can throw, like, freeze grenades, basically, at them, and then they become more susceptible to damage.
Dude, this sounds like so cool. Like, every battle just sounds like its own puzzle.
Yeah,
basically, yes.
And it's all very simple mechanics. It's all like basically just rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock type thing. It's like, oh, this monster's strong against this. Oh, this is weak against that. Like, Watcher is basically, you can take it with like a single arrow to the eye, takes him down. Mm-hmm. But then there are other monsters where it's like with the Thunderjaw, it's like, okay, let me disconnect the laser cannon from it, use it against it, and then I need to light it on fire, or I need to freeze it so I can disconnect more pieces from it. And, its weak point is right here, so let me pop some arrows into that. Let me throw some sticky grenades.
It sounds like such a great rush. Like, every battle sounds like a rush and its own little mini game, and that's cool.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. That'd be the best way to describe it.
I actually have a little story to tell. Hannah actually enjoys playing this game.
Oh, yes. Whoa. Awesome.
Yeah, she played it for about an hour and 20 minutes the other day. But, anything that requires any difficulty, she just throws the controller at me and gets really scared and stressed. But she likes running around, picking up sticks, picking up berries, and killing things in stealth. She likes doing that.
For those at home, she is a Destiny pro as long as people are not shooting at her.
She can snipe, but as far as, like, actually shooting people who are shooting at her, no. No, not chance.
No. Then she goes crazy and like she looks straight up in the air and things don't work.
Yeah, but so far her one complaint about the game is that she can't pick the yellow flowers off the ground and put it in her hair.
Expert, come on, developers.
Come on, Gorilla.
It's a game for everyone.
You gotta be thinking about the fiancés in the world. Come on.
Yeah, come on. I have 2 more points, and then I'll be done talking about this game because I could go on forever.
Until next episode.
Some for the episode.
Ooh, yeah.
One thing in this game, going anywhere in the game is just so much fun because you don't know what's around the corner that's going to kill you, and it's also just gorgeous. Like graphic wise and lighting wise, the game is just it's like. It's a moving work of art.
Awesome.
I would say that may be fun for you, but I'm playing at a harder difficulty for you, so not knowing what's around the corner is very stressful.
Hey, wait, before we drop this, is there like a loot system? Is there loot?
Yes.
Yeah, every time you kill something you get loot, and then depending on there are drop chances, so some things like you might get like just the generic like equipment, like some metal shards, which is the currency, and also some crafting materials. Okay. Or you get like a Watcher eye, which you can then sell or use to buy other things.
Okay. Yeah, the loot is mostly like parts for crafting and modifications to your weapons.
Okay, so you don't like pick up new bows; you just enhance the one that you have.
Pretty much, or you buy a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second thing that I want to talk about. Guerrilla Games, which is known for making the Killzone series,
not anymore.
Has done a terrific transition from first-person gritty shooter to third-person open-world robot dinosaur hunting like action adventure game. It's absolutely extraordinary.
They're now the Horizon Zero Dawn people and no longer the Killzone people.
And they're the people that are supplying Hideo Kojima with their engine.
Hey.
Yeah, and they make fantastic looking games and like their gameplay, and it's just amazing what they've done.
I'm really excited. All right, awesome. That sounds great. Good job, guys.
Awesome.
That was very good. We'll talk more about Horizon Zero Dawn on a later date once more people play it.
And once we beat it, which should be like 4 months from now.
Well, we're talking about a game that I haven't even beat yet, so guess what? It's a great. Yeah.
So we're going to transition to the main course, the filet mignon of the show. So cue the music. Do-do-do-do-do. Boo-doo-boo-doo-boo-doop. All right.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, I'll stop.
All right. So today we're going to discuss the new Zelda for a little bit. but since only one of us has played it right now, we're
problematic.
going to also talk about our Zelda experiences as well, like our favorite Zelda game.
I remember my first Zelda game.
Our first Zelda
Wow.
game. And yeah, and we'll continue on there. See where the road takes us, as my father used to say. Still
Used
says
to
it.
say.
He's still alive.
Come on, dude.
So, in order to start this off, we're going to give it to Logan to talk about Breath of the Future, right? Is that the game?
Oh my god.
No, that's Back to the Wild.
Oh, okay. Back to the Wild. Oh, sorry. Wait. It's Rain
hold
Waker.
on.
Rain Waker, right?
I
No,
hate
it's-
this.
It's
Legend of
Majora's
Zelda,
Ocarina.
Majora's Breath. Yeah, Majora's Ocarina of Breath.
Oh, Link to the Future.
Oracle of Hourglass time.
Spirit Tracks. Oh wait, it's an actual one.
All right.
What
yeah.
was the one that he could turn 2D?
Oh,
Link
Between Worlds. Oh, so good, man.
Paper Zelda.
Paper
Yes.
Zelda.
Yeah. Link Between Worlds is
Anyway.
really good. We'll get to that. Logan, Breath of the Wild.
Anyway, yeah. So Breath of the Wild, I'm playing the Switch version, and my God, it's huge, and it is everything that people have been expecting. It is Zelda Scrolls. It's
Zelda
literally
Scrolls.
Skyrim, but
It kind of looks like Zelda Scrolls with Witcher mixed in. So it's like Witcher Zelda Scrolls of time.
yeah, I mean it's pretty accurate. Like it's very open world. You get new weapons like every turn. Like it's so incredible. Like how different yet how at home this game feels. Like compared to other Zelda games.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of gameplay of it, and it doesn't. Like, it seems very familiar, as in like the themes are there from other Zelda games, but like it doesn't look like a Zelda game at all. Like, doesn't because it's so open world, it's so free, it's not linear like a lot of Zelda games seem to be.
Right. Like one of the things that they talked about before it released was that you could beat the game in the first hour if you wanted to.
You just have to know where you're going.
Right. You just have to know where you're going, and you have to
Isn't-
be able to survive.
Yeah, and that's what I think the first Zelda game did as well. It's like if you knew what you were doing, you could beat it within like the first 20 minutes.
Right.
Not 100% accurate, but go ahead.
After you get the sword.
I haven't played it in a while, so.
But yeah, this game has a lot of new things about it. Like, I don't even know where to begin. The first thing is that I played it at E3, and my first concern was the stamina bar. They now have a stamina bar here, and if it runs out while you're swimming or climbing, you could potentially fall or drown to death. So I was just really worried.
You can die.
Yeah, like you could literally die from real world situations, not like octopi spitting rocks.
Do you have a thing where like you can get heartburn if you eat like hot soup or something?
Actually, they have it so that if you eat hot soup, you can resist cold weather.
That is very accurate to a real world, and I like
Yes.
that.
So it's like if you eat hot soup or like hot elixirs with spicy peppers mixed in, like you will survive cold, harsh weather conditions.
Now this is Logan. Question: This is the Zelda game that has a crafting system, right?
Oh, well, crafting not like weapons. You can't craft weapons or anything like that. But you could cook meals
But
that
you
give
have
you
to-
boosts.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, so you could get food from anywhere. You could catch animals. You can hunt animals. Get meat from them. You can mine rock salt. It's really cool, man. Like just so many awesome different things that you haven't seen before in Zelda or other games.
Have you played Minecraft? Because Minecraft does a lot of those things.
Well, yeah, I haven't done that, but anyway.
Yeah. Just one thing I really like is just, it's cold. You need to put a heavier outfit on.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
it's cold.
Yeah.
And that's something I think games have been ignoring for a very long time. Like we have Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn. She's swimming in water that's up in the snowy mountains, and there's nothing. There's no repercussions for that. And
Yeah,
right, this game
actually, I was
there
thinking
definitely
the
are.
same
You
thing.
can freeze to death.
I'm on the other side of the coin on that one.
Oh, you don't like that?
I think it depends on the game, honestly. Because if we start making all games so incredibly realistic, at what point do we draw the line between games and reality? There's that whole debate. But I think that we have to we have to kind of take into context what the game is. Like a survival horror game, yeah, I could see like that being a factor. Cold water, bad food, things like that. But I just feel like trying to add so much realism into a game kind of takes away the game aspect of it.
See, usually I'd be with you, but the fact that there are so many ways to avoid that sort of thing, it makes it okay. Like, you still have to make ridiculous elixirs, like, but it's so easy to avoid it. You just have to be mindful of it, that's all.
Right, and it makes sense within the context of that game, because it's not like an overburden on the game. But I feel like with Horizon Zero Dawn, having to have winter clothes or not being able to swim in ice water would kind of take away from the game aspect of that game.
And I agree with that. I'm not saying Horizon Zero Dawn should have that. It's just I always think that whenever I see like my character in Skyrim swimming in water and it's snowing.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that the new Zelda game has done, is that it's kind of taken the action adventure and then thrown in some survival game elements. Because
definitely.
I know, like, I've played a lot of like Minecraft and Ark, and basically like a lot of just survival genre games that are kind of overdone these days. But I think Zelda has found a good mix between the two, and that's one reason why it's just so successful and kind of addicting, because you're always doing the resource gathering.
Right, yeah. Like, I've never really enjoyed that sort of resource gathering aspect of a game, but this, like, it's so cool. Like, I mean, it's just cartoony enough, but also realistic and survivalist enough.
Yeah, it's like in Horizon Zero Dawn, like you have to hunt like actual animals for things. So I get excited when I see like, ooh, a rabbit, I need its skin.
Right. Same thing here. You can hunt rabbits, deer, moose, whatever.
What? You can hunt moose?
Yeah,
moose, really?
What do the moose ever do to you?
Wait, can you ride the moose as well?
No, but you can catch wild horses, since Epona is not really a thing.
Wild horses.
Oh my God.
That part's going to be blocked out due to copyright.
And one of the details I really like is once you tame a wild horse, like when you're riding it back to the stable, and while you're riding it, like for like the first, I guess, few hours, I don't know how long, is that it will fight against you. It won't be as well trained. And I think that's fascinating.
Now, can you lose a horse? Like in Red Dead Redemption?
Yes, you can lose a horse if you do not register it at a local stable.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you have to register your horse at a stable, and then you can call on it at any stable you go to.
So not only has Zelda created like a fun action survival game, but they've also made the DMV in a Zelda game.
Yes.
How many? Excuse me, sir. How many miles do you have on this horse? What's the VIN number? Approximately how much did you spend on the horse at the time of sale?
Can I get a horse facts report?
Yeah. Have you had any accidents with your horse?
I actually caught the biggest horse in the game. It's actually a Goliath of a horse.
Whoa.
It's like 2 times the size of any other horse in the game.
That's just unnecessary.
And it was so hard to
Which is
tame.
why I'm glad you got it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So basically, you got the SUV of horses.
Yeah, I got the all-terrain, Escalade.
How's your mileage?
Oh, well, the thing is, it's 2 horsepower, because this thing is twice as big as any other one.
Well, Logan, no matter how all-terrain your horse may be, it'll never be as all-terrain as a Skyrim horse.
Oh, you're right. No, I cannot scale mountains with this one.
So this brings up an interesting question I'd like to pose to I guess Logan, who's our resident Zelda guy right now.
Yes, hi.
Does Breath of the Wild have to be a Zelda game? Could they have made a whole new title and a whole new IP?
No, because it still has the charm of the Zelda games. It still plays the music when you open chests. It's still, it's still the fun little creatures and enemies that you fight. It's still very Zelda.
Okay. See, my whole thing with Zelda is like I started playing Zelda on the N64, probably like anybody else or most people.
Represent.
NES.
And when I've been watching gameplay and things like that, and there's parts of it that I kind of like where they're going, and I think if I had played more of the series past the N64 games, I might be more into it. But I feel like there's just parts of it that kind of depart from the old Nintendo way of doing a Zelda game, like especially the weapons. Because when you find a weapon in the old games, you kept that weapon; it never depreciated in anything like that. You also never had a stamina bar, and you couldn't drown. So it's just like things like that. I'm like, I don't know if I really like that as a Zelda specific thing. Like I can see how the game could carry its charm. I could see it also being a totally new franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I can see. I kind of agree with Tyler's viewpoint because the last Zelda game that tried something like super new, I ended up. I never even beat the first dungeon. It was the one for the Wii.
Skyward Sword.
Skyward
Sword.
Skyward Sword. I never got into that because I had so many problems with the controls.
Well, the one thing that it really does deviate from is the whole dungeon, like, each dungeon needs its own weapon sort of thing. So they've sort of really deviated from that. They now have, like, ancient runes that you have to find, but you get them all so early on in the game.
That was one of the things that I read about the game as well, is the lack of dungeons and how that could kind of, and I can see how that could pull away from.
I mean that's feel. Totally something that they went far left from any other Zelda game. There's no dungeons. There's really no major dungeons, but they have little shrines throughout, like that have little mini dungeons. Like, but there's over 100 of them, and they're each their own puzzle. They're still Zelda-esque puzzles. And you have to solve them because some of them I've had to look up. I will be honest with you; they are really still Zelda difficult.
All right. I've been. Go ahead, Fitz. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and like they seem like just. Well, I'm gonna say from my experience of Zelda, is that dungeons have like a huge overarching puzzle throughout the entire dungeon. Well, this one's just like here's one puzzle, you solve it, you're good.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Okay, and I kind of like that because you just get into the dungeon enough to enjoy it, but you're never completely frustrated with it.
Water Temple, Ocarina of Time.
Oh god,
there's certain places I could tell the Water Temple to go, but they would not be appropriate for this podcast.
See, but like the thing is, again, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. There are over 100 shrines with these little mini puzzles in them.
Right, but I don't know if I would rather have 100 plus shrines, or if I would rather just have the
quality
main
versus
dungeon
quantity
feel, because I feel like adding hundreds of something, even because I'm not overly familiar with the new Final Fantasy, but there's apparently item chests. There's over 100 of those, or hidden chests. There's over 100 of those. It feels like it feels needless and excessive to kind of extend gameplay time.
Yeah, I mean that's a kind of a question, quality versus quantity. Do you want 100 small dungeons or do you want like 6 or 7?
Well, I mean, I'll give you this. Like, I've been playing it for over 2 weeks now, maybe a week and a half. I don't know. Still not bored of them. I still get excited when I find one.
What kind of rewards do you get from them?
Well, the main reward is what you call a spirit orb, since there are no
Friendship.
heart pieces or heart containers anymore, and you get one after every time you beat a dungeon.
Okay.
And if you collect 4 of them, you can either increase your stamina or increase your hearts.
Okay.
So they're definitely worth it.
Now I'm getting more of the departure from the original games that I watched a bunch of gameplay and I read a bunch of reviews, but I haven't really gotten to that part of it. My biggest problem so far from what I've watched is the weapon depreciation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a big deal, but again, you find weapons so often that it just hasn't bothered me yet.
Right.
So, question with weapons though, are some weapons more powerful than others? Or
Oh, by far. And some of them have elemental things to them, like some of them are fire based and electric based.
Now, can you have multiple weapons at once?
Yes, and you can actually increase your weapon stash. So you can increase the amount of weapons that you can carry throughout the game.
Huh, okay.
Speaking of weapons, the coolest thing I've seen so far is that your weapons will conduct electricity from the lightning.
Yeah, if you're in a lightning storm and you're wearing metal armor or a metal weapon, you will get electrified.
That's kind of cool.
And
that's kind of cool.
One thing that I saw was that they realized, there's thunder, there's lightning, there's enemies over there. I'm going to throw my sword at these enemies and hope the lightning strikes my sword and kills all these enemies. And sure enough, that happened.
Absolutely. The other thing is that the AI is really, really smart, and it's realistic as well. So if I'm getting shot at by somebody shooting an arrow, and I'm fighting someone melee style right in front of them, they could get hit by the arrow that's being shot at me.
Okay, I like that.
It's really cool. A lot of like strategy has been added into Zelda now. A lot of strategy. There you didn't really used to be. You sort of just dodge roll and jump to the side, but now it's so 3D.
It's funny that kind of. I'm going to do a lot of compare and contrast with Horizon Zero Dawn because both games have a lot of attention to detail. Like in Zero Dawn, depending on what you're doing, Aloe will make a comment. Like if you're sliding down a mountain too fast, she'll make a comment or be like, "Ow," like gravel burn or something. And then in Zelda now, it also seems like each monster encounter is kind of its own mini puzzle.
Yes, it is.
Or mini game.
Yep. And,
also, you can use your sled as a snowboard.
Your shield as a snowboard, yes.
Oh, sorry, your shield. Your shield as a snowboard, sorry.
It's really cool, man. I do that all the freaking time.
So let me pose this question to the group here then. I am a big fan of the Zelda lore, to begin with. Are we worried that Zelda is trying to cross over and be something it's not? Is it trying to change into something that's going to be like a Skyrim or be like something open world travel like Horizon Zero Dawn or even Wildlands for that matter? Are we afraid that it's going to try to step out and be something it's not and then we're going to lose our love for it?
It hasn't happened to me yet. Like, they are definitely trying something different. That is a thing that's happening. They are deviating from it totally.
I am all for Nintendo trying something different because trying the same hasn't worked for them.
Well, Zelda it has. You have to admit, it has.
Zelda has, but how many Super Mario Brothers U are we going to get?
How many Mario Karts? How many Mario Parties?
Well, that's right. Not necessarily... you can't really. The thing with those is you can't change those titles. I think what Nintendo lacks the most is new IPs and new franchises that they can build on. That have introduced.
That's exactly your point.
And no Metroid.
Go ahead.
Sorry, what?
No
Metroid.
and lack of good Metroid games.
Yep. And there's no Metroid either.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 3, last good Metroid game. Nintendo.
Also, where's the Metroid at?
What?
Where's the Metroid? I don't know where the Metroid is.
I'm not understanding.
I just want Metroid.
Yeah, exactly. I just want a good Metroid game that isn't Other M, and for the DS or the Switch.
But anyway, your point again, Tyler.
See, your point, Logan. Tyler. For me, this is a Zelda game that I'm really interested in and I really want to play. And that is not something Zelda has ever done for me, except for maybe Link Between Worlds. This is a Zelda. I'm considering buying a Switch so I can play this game.
Well, Tyler actually he brings up a good point, is because some people want Zelda games to remain the same. We all want another Ocarina of Time or Link's Awakening or the original Zelda. We want those games. But then there's, some of us are kind of bored with, it's just rinse and repeat, which is what Nintendo is pretty good at. And I think, not Skyward Sword, Breath of Wild might be kind of a bridge, beginning of a bridge, between those two groups. Because it keeps some elements the same, but then it kind of branches out to be its own game.
My biggest fear is I like a lot of what the new stuff that they've added. My biggest fear is that future installments, pending Nintendo having success, is that they're going to completely scrap the old elements of the game that make it a Zelda game, and then it becomes something totally different, which couldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but I think with this franchise specifically, that would be a bad thing.
Yeah, well,
I don't think they'd ever do that. I really don't. They know they're smarter than that.
Well, they made the Wii U.
Well,
it's also bound to happen. Look at Call of Duty. Look at how it started with classic World War II shooter, and now we're on whatever the hell it is.
Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Modern Mountain Dew Dorito. I'm a 13-year-old boy warfare.
I just want to play the Modern Warfare remastered. Release that on its own.
I'm in the same exact freaking boat as you, Fitz. You can't tease me like that. That was my favorite Call of Duty. It was honestly,
except
in
they
my
knew
opinion,
exactly what they were doing when they did that.
It was the best Call of Duty I think to date, and it's really frustrating that they're not releasing it by itself.
Nope. and they caught you on that.
I think once Infinity Ward realizes it's losing a ton of money with Infinite Warfare, it'll finally release it on its own. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think they'll do it eventually, just not anytime soon.
Interesting tidbit of information that was given to me has yet to be verified by me. However, apparently on the release date for Infinite Warfare, there were more downloads of Farming Simulator than there were of Infinite Warfare.
That's funny.
That's funny.
You know, I have
like
Farming
that.
Simulator. I have yet to play it.
What? I would
Alright.
play that right away. Play it right now while we're doing
Wait,
this.
do I have that or Euro Truck Simulator? Hold on, let me look
Both
it
of
up
them
really
are
quick.
both of them. I played
You have
Euro
Euro Truck Simulator, I know you do.
I have
really
Euro
hard.
Truck Simulator. I have yet to play that.
It's really
Yeah,
hard.
so Zelda, huh?
Yeah,
like
back to Zelda. Let's go. Star Trek.
So
So Zelda's a lot like Star Trek, and
Oh
there's
my
a lot
God.
of adventuring and self-discovery.
I want to die.
I want to die too.
William Shatner.
I need to die.
Anyway, let's see. Any other
So let me
thoughts
tell you about what
on
I
Breath of the
don't
Wild
like
before
yet.
we move
Like-
into previous Zelda
Wait,
games?
I haven't talked about what I don't like. I've only told you
Okay.
about what
Yeah,
I do
go ahead.
like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so having played it, the one thing that just really was too far is the voice acting. They
What?
added voice acting, yes.
No.
Not Link. Not Link. Link is
Okay.
still speechless.
All right, that's okay. But I mean,
Yeah.
still, no.
Honestly,
Oh.
Zelda's voice actress makes me want to throw myself into a spiky wall. I just...
Nintendo, did you
I
not
can't do
learn from Other M? Don't do that. Bad Nintendo. Logan, get the spray bottle.
Yeah, I want to. I want a newspaper bop Nintendo on the nose for that. Like, that was just... voice acting didn't need it. Didn't need it at all. It adds nothing.
In fairness, usually good voice acting adds something, so I'm guessing bad voice acting just doesn't add anything.
Right, this one in particular adds nothing.
Well, I don't think voice acting goes well with that art style.
It
of
doesn't.
the game at all.
It really
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
The only way to do that is to hire actual, I guess, decent voice actors who can do cartoonish character voices.
Oh my god! So every character is voiced by Patrick Stewart and Morgan Freeman.
Yes, that'll be okay with.
Can you imagine Zelda?
Nathan Fillion
Zelda
playing
voiced
one
by
character.
Zelda
And Troy
voiced by
Baker.
Patrick Stewart,
And Troy Baker, of course, he's just the voice of everything.
or
as
even
well.
can we get a Zelda voiced by Sean Connery? Link, you must go get the Master Sword,
Wait.
and you must get
No,
must destroy the ancient
Zelda's
beast,
voiced
and you
by,
must free me from my slumber.
Tyler, Zelda's voiced by Nolan North.
Ew.
Oh god.
He should only do
Because Nolan
Deadpool
North
ever.
and Troy Baker do everything.
Oh, Tyler, one thing.
Yep.
With the weapon deprecation thing, once you get the Master Sword, it does not break.
But I actually heard that
I
it
had a
does.
question
I
about
heard that
that.
it does.
It doesn't.
I heard that it does, and that it has a cooldown time.
It
So-
runs out of power, yes, but it doesn't break.
But well,
Well,
that's
how does the
technically
Master Sword
breaking if
run
it's
out of
useless.
power?
I think that with the weapon depreciation system, if they're gonna for future Zelda games, if anybody at Nintendo happens across this podcast, what you should do is go play any other RPG out there and kind of probably borrow from their system. Skyrim immediately comes to mind, where your weapons don't go away, but your magical items do lose charge.
But Tyler. So many playthroughs in Skyrim. We know we find that one weapon, we pick up a million others, and just sell them.
Yeah, that's if you want to add weapons to a Zelda game, why don't they do that?
Wait, what I don't understand is how does the Master Sword run out of charge? Like, why does every single weapon in this game become the Giant's Knife from Ocarina of Time?
Well, I don't know. It's just it's still useful, but it just runs out of charge, and I don't know. Whatever.
What do you have to do to recharge it? Plug it in?
It's like
No,
a
just
cooldown
wait.
time.
Yeah, it's a cooldown.
Oh, sorry, baddies. I can't attack you right now. I gotta wait for my sword to recharge.
Well, the thing is, like, with the whole weapon breaking thing, it's forced me to use weapons I would never have used if I had the choice. It's really cool in that sense.
Logan, can you use an ore as a weapon?
You can use a mop as a weapon.
All right, this game is not broken.
You can
Okay.
use a soup ladle as a weapon.
I need to play this game.
You could use a pot lid as a shield.
I like that. I like
You
that
are
kind of
never
stuff.
you are never out of weapons. That's
Now,
my
do
thing.
shields also break? Do you have to constantly?
They
swap
have
through
durability, yes.
shields? Okay.
The only thing that doesn't break is armor, which is really, really good.
Good.
Okay.
You had
Which,
to
of
draw the
course-
line somewhere.
Yeah, there are awesome armor pieces in this game. So I like that it goes away from the general tunic thing. You could wear so many pieces of armor.
So many.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I found really cool is that there's a place where you can get them dyed different colors.
This is just The Witcher 3, but with Zelda. I'm convinced.
So you can change the colors of your armor.
Wait, you can do that in The Witcher 3?
Yeah, you can dye your armor in The Witcher 3.
Well, there you go.
How have I not? I played this for Witcher 3 for over 200 hours. How do I not know that?
Because I think they added it in one of the expansion packs.
That's probably why. There you go.
But yeah, I got the Zora armor, which is technically always blue, but I dyed it black. It looks awesome.
So you see some blue armor and you have to dye it black.
I see some blue armor and I have painted black and brown.
Close enough.
Yes. Yeah, whatever.
So one thing before we talk about Zelda games, this is a thing about Nintendo that constantly ticks me off to no regard, is their consoles.
Yeah.
Because I think the Switch is interesting. There's no way in creation that I will buy one anytime soon, unless a Metroid game is announced. Because I don't want to spend, and this is where I'm going to get literally technical, I don't want to spend $300 on a system that, when plugged into my TV, can barely do over 30 frames per second. Or if I put it in portable mode, it does 720p at 30 frames per second.
Right.
Thing I'm ticked about is that we are going into the 4K era, and though it is a technological marvel, it's relying on a gimmick like the Wii U and the Wii before it. It's just relying on a gimmick of, here's this thing where we can take it apart and modify it, and it's very modular. While that's cool, I have questions about practicality.
Russell, I think if I may make a bold prediction, I think this will be the first Nintendo system that goes along with the whole, the Nintendo Switch Pro or the Nintendo Switch Slim, that sort of thing. I feel like they're going to do that eventually.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. Where here's the Nintendo Switch Pro, it can now do 1080p at 30 frames per second.
Right.
When everyone else at that point will be
at this day and age, it should be able to do 1080p out of the gate.
I agree.
Yeah, it is 1080p. I don't know where you're getting 720 though.
It's only the Switch screen itself is 720p.
Oh.
And also when you're in portable mode, it's capped at 30 frames per second. And one thing that we haven't talked about in Breath of the Wild is that when plugged into the TV, you get a lot of frame rate issues.
I have not seen any of those issues.
Okay, yeah, this is just things that I've read.
You forget Russell plays games at 400 frames per second.
The general consensus is that this could be Nintendo's version of the Xbox or the PlayStation, where it gets future iterations, where it would be like the Switch 2 or Switch 3 or Switch Pro, whatever.
Right.
So we were thinking this is good. This could be finally be the console that Nintendo got right.
It's going to keep up, at least, if nothing else. It's going to try to keep up. That's my bold prediction.
Okay, yeah, because it's bugged me that Nintendo has created like the Wii U or the Wii, which is one of the highest selling consoles, but gave developers a nightmare. So it's still a
gimmicky thing, the Switch, but it's a cool gimmick. It's not like, whoa, motion controls that nobody can adapt to. It's just portable now.
The Wii was a cool gimmick when it came out too.
That's what I'm saying, but it was, like you said, a developer's nightmare. The Switch is not.
Yeah, well, to a degree, because if it's a difference in hardware, for some developers it's problematic, which I'm not saying is either good nor bad, it's just simply a fact.
Well, they don't have to deal with motion controls like they did with the Wii.
It's true.
Yeah, very true.
That is very limiting.
What?
Alrighty, so now that we've completed our Switch Zelda Breath of the Wild talk, we're going to go right into talking about our first Zelda game or favorite Zelda game. So I'm going to go reverse. I'm going to go Russell. What was your first Zelda game?
So the first one that I actually can really remember was Ocarina of Time. I remember I was kind of too young to really play games well, but we had a power outage at my house because when I was a kid because of an ice storm. So I went to my aunt's house and my cousin had it. So I remember watching my brother play it, and he went from basically all like the beginning of the game to all the way to the Forest Temple. And then we got our own N64, and then we got that, and I played the crap out of that. So N64 is kind of like, or not N64, Ocarina of Time is kind of like my first like true Zelda love.
Okay.
Actually, I think my brother beat the game. It was a while ago, so I just remember him having problems with the Forest Temple, and I was creeped out by it.
And I'm assuming you really enjoyed Ocarina of Time, like most people.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed Ocarina of Time. It's not my favorite Zelda game. For that, I'm kind of torn between Majora's Mask and Wind Waker, which is an odd two to be torn between, but
yeah, I would say
that's
so.
That's pretty popular choices right there.
Actually,
because Majora's Mask, you got the difficult, like kind of creepy, like all the way through Zelda game, and then with Wind Waker, you just had that kind of like the charm that Breath of the Wild has, but with the ocean,
right,
and more cartoony.
So I've tried to get into Ocarina of Time multiple times. Once on the N64, on Tyler's N64, and another time on the 3DS. And I have a real hard time getting into it. Maybe I'm not. I mean, actually, I do notice because like I feel really restricted in the game. Because I feel like wherever I go, there's always something blocking my path from continuing into the next area. Literally,
dude, you would love Breath of the Wild, man.
I'm sure. My biggest complaint about what many consider the best Zelda game of all time, or the best game of all time, is not in Breath of the Wild.
True.
So,
well, now, Fitz, question: like, when did you actually start playing Ocarina of Time?
I tried the first time sophomore year in college, and the last time, that would be my second +1 summer of college.
Right, hold on. Let me look something up with my loud ass keyboard because I don't remember what year Ocarina of Time came out.
I would venture a guess.
94.
Ocarina of Time was it was not.
Yes, it was.
I would venture a guess, Fitz, that you're so used to open world exploration and being able to go do whatever you want from other fantastic RPGs you played.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, 98. I was right eventually.
That you're not used to how I guess video games used to be structured like that, where you could only get to where you needed to go in order to open certain parts of the other map or parts of the map.
Yeah, because
you were used to open worldness by then.
Yeah. Thinking of all my favorite games are open world now.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, Fitz, you had the benefit of playing over like 12, 13 years of game development before playing this game.
Yeah.
A lot happened
like
between
our
those
first
13 plus years.
Yeah, a lot of us, this is our first one. Like,
what really got me with Ocarina of Time is the story. The story was the driving force behind the whole game. It made me want to keep playing and find out what's next and beat the temples and beat the bad guys. That was the driving force. So if you ever go back and play it again, I implore you to just dive headfirst into the story and ignore the game mechanics.
If they ever remake it on the Breath of the Wild engine.
Oh my god, I would get a Switch for that.
They might.
Dude, you just
But yeah, Fitz, like Logan, Tyler, and I have had the benefit of like we have the nostalgia factor because like to us like this was the first like giant open world like story driven game for us back in '96 is when Ocarina of Time came out.
98.
98. Sorry,
we've had 4 different years now.
No, because back in '98 when the game came out, and this was in the PlayStation and N64 era, so like we didn't have a lot of giant open world games of this scope. Now we have stuff that trumps that, no doubt. But back then, like this was like one of the first, so we have that benefit of nostalgia.
Actually, I have a confession to make. I didn't play Ocarina of Time on the N64 era.
You played it on the 3DS?
I played it on the GameCube.
Oh, I forgot about that.
When it came out with that huge like Zelda pack.
Came with Master Quest, right?
Yes, and it had the Wind Waker demo, and I think it was like right before Twilight Princess, and it had like all the NES games on it. So I've played a good number of Zelda games because of that one thing. I played Oracle of Seasons. I'd played all the 3DS ones except for Phantom Hourglass. I played Wind Waker on the Wii U, and which is far better than.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that they did an HD remaster.
It is Wind Waker. Everything beautiful about the Wind Waker, but a million times better.
What makes it better?
Well, first thing is that you can get a sail very early on that makes that makes you travel like 3 times faster than normal.
Oh no! Part of the fun of Wind Waker was suffering through how long it took to get everywhere.
No, wrong. Wrong. Yeah, no. So that made it just a million times better. They made the shards, like getting the 8 shards, way better.
Oh yeah, that was like one of the worst things about Wind Waker.
Everybody stopped playing at that point.
Yeah,
but they actually made it bearable, so it's fine.
Huh.
But my favorite Zelda game was actually Twilight Princess, and it still is after Breath of the Wild.
Interesting, because universally, I hear a lot of people didn't like Twilight Princess.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the. I don't think I'm in the majority there, but I just love it. I love every second of it.
Yeah, Twilight Princess is fun because it went. I don't know. I mean, it's not one of it's. I think like my 4th favorite Zelda game, maybe. Probably.
See,
6th.
what people don't realize is that that's the first one that like you did away with the dungeons. There weren't really dungeons in Twilight Princess.
Yeah, there were. There was like the Sky Dungeon and with all the creepy looking chicken things with the human heads.
Well, yeah, but I guess they were very low scale dungeons, I guess.
Okay.
It was definitely more side quest driven.
True, yeah, that's very true.
So, Tyler.
Yes, sir?
What was your first Zelda game, and what is your favorite?
My first Zelda game was, in fact, Ocarina of Time.
Really? That's so atypical.
Yeah, I didn't actually really start playing video games until the N64 came out. But yeah, Ocarina of Time was my very first Zelda game, and I would honestly say it's probably my favorite one. Majora's Mask is a very, very, very close second.
God, I hate that because Majora's Mask is actually my least favorite Zelda game.
I love Majora's Mask. Like once you get the hang of how to play the game, like with the time cycles and things changing, like the game gets immensely easier once you figure it out.
Yeah, I know.
But the story from Majora's Mask was amazing. But Ocarina of Time for me, I guess it's partially the nostalgia of it, is my favorite Zelda game.
Oh my! I love the mask system in Majora's Mask because it was so creepy.
The story was the whole story was creepy.
Yeah, everything about that game is just creepy.
And all the bugs, they're creepy too. Like the bugs in the game.
Yes. Like you mean like the actual bugs,
like
or
the glitches, or actual bugs in the game?
Like glitches.
Yeah, those were scary too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, look up Majora's Mask creepypasta.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Forget it.
Talking about the kid that they say like died.
Yep.
And then this ghost is in
the
the game.
Ben Drown thing.
Yes, and the creepy statue that follows you.
That's a game hack though. Like that doesn't actually happen in the game.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's been debunked. Still creepy as hell, but it's
still
been
creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still very creepy. Ben drowned, everybody. He drowned. Sorry, Ben. Rest in peace.
Oh, Ben.
I mean, it's not as creepy as the fact that the Deku Butler's son became a mask, and that's who your spirit you're embodying.
Yeah, that was morbid. That was really morbid.
And like you're a dead Zora musician.
Rockstar specifically.
Right.
So, Logan, you said your favorite one. Did you say your first one?
My first Zelda game was actually Oracle of Seasons.
Yeah, Oracle of Seasons.
It was really fun.
Oh, you know what I just totally forgot about? The Minish Cap.
No one played that.
I did. I loved it.
Yeah, I never played that one.
Really enjoyed that one.
Why did you like that one?
It was for the Advance, I think.
Yeah, GBA.
I liked it because it was a Zelda game, but it was different. Like where in Ocarina of Time you change between young Link and old Link. In the Minish Cap, you go from being Kid Link to being what's called this race of the Minish, who are essentially tiny forest elves. So that's kind of cool, and there's puzzles built around it. And there was like an item collection system where you could buy these statues, and you would have to collect all the statues, and it was kind of fun. I know, I enjoyed it.
Sounds interesting. It sounds like something I'm never going to play.
It's one of those rainy day games.
Okay.
Now wait, Logan. What? I just out of my own curiosity, what was it about Majora's Mask that you didn't like?
I really didn't like that if you waited, like if you couldn't get somewhere in the right amount of time, you had to wait until the time recycled to do it again. Like it was so daunting. Like you have to be at the right place at the right time of day for things to happen.
Okay.
I don't know. It was more exhausting than it was fun.
I can see that. I've only watched gameplay of it, but I can definitely see that being exhausting.
It wasn't really a problem for the main story. Like I beat it. Like it wasn't bad, but like if you wanted to 100% that game, it was so draining.
Done that.
Oh God, bless you.
Especially when you have to get all the masks so you can get the Fierce Deities mask.
Yes.
Like
and everybody wanted the Fierce Deity mask.
What?
Everybody wanted the Fierce Deity mask, so everybody tried. Nobody could freaking do it.
What? No, I have it. Every time I play the game, I've gotten every single mask.
Ugh. Can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it.
It's like one of the quests that you have to do to get like the wedding mask. That gives me anxiety and panic attacks every time. Every time. But I do it because the Fierce Deities mask is awesome. And creepy.
It's just like at the point you get it,
Creepy
it's
awesome.
just useless. There's no reason to have it.
It makes the Majora's Mask boss really easy.
It's easy by itself without the mask.
I've never done it without the mask, so...
Well,
but my brother had
like,
problems with it, so...
It's really not hard. You just shoot him with a couple arrows and he's dead.
Or you shoot him with a couple laser discs from the Fierce Deity sword and he's dead.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It just was. It was just weird. I didn't really like it.
All right.
Alrighty. So Fitz, what was your first and favorite Zelda game? Well, Fitz, well,
You were the first one to talk. Like you talked about Ocarina of Time and how you
Fitz,
didn't like it.
what was your first Zelda game?
that's more of a joke than anything. So my first Zelda game was The Legend of Zelda, the first one.
Right.
For the NES. And I was too young to understand anything for that game. Like, I got my sword, I could shoot stuff out of it, that was cool, I would walk around and kill anything I saw, and I eventually found the first dungeon, beat it, and then after that, nothing. It really does not hold your hand in that game as far as like where you need to go next.
No.
Dude, that was when games weren't supposed to be beaten.
Yeah, they just weren't. Like you needed the Nintendo Power issue to beat games. Like,
No, I remember like as a kid trying to play Link's Awakening. That game is hard. Like it is actually possible to become stuck in that game.
I actually did get stuck in that game.
Yeah.
yeah, but I have always enjoyed playing it. I always my first go-to game to put in my NES, even though I never made any progress in it. I just, I really want to go back and play an emulator for it, and I kind of wish I still had my NES, so I can play it on my NES. But it's definitely something I want to go back to, and now that, we have the internet for walkthroughs, which
shame, dude, no shame.
Yeah, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to get through that game. But my favorite would have to be the only Zelda game I've ever completed, which is Link Between Worlds. I don't know, I was just really engaged with the story of that game. I love the
plot twist. Oh, so cool.
The plot twist was really cool.
What was the plot twist of that game?
Dude, I don't want to spoil it.
I'm not going to deal in spoilers.
Which one's A Link Between Worlds? Is that the one where he goes flat?
Yes.
I've played that game, and yet I don't remember the plot twist.
The rabbit guy that you're helping the entire game?
Oh, he's been dead this whole time. That's
is
right.
Link. He's
Link into the other dimension.
Yes.
He was dead this whole time.
Yeah. I know. That was a pretty good plot twist, and I really enjoyed the combat, and I enjoyed the item rental system. So you could just you can do any dungeon you wanted at any point.
As long as you had the rupees for it.
Well, yeah, as long as you had the rupees for it. Yeah.
But I also like the exploration. There was a lot that you had to explore, and you needed the right weapon again. Like, it was really cool.
Yeah. And, the bosses, the bosses weren't anything really special. They were just from other games. But, the combat was great. The story was great. And it's really, besides Pokemon X, I had X, right? Yeah. It was really, besides, and Monster Hunter, it was the only other game I had on my 3DS. So, it gave my 3DS life. Now it's just collecting dust on my bookshelf. Dead. Well, yeah, that's me.
You know what? Zelda game that I think very few people have probably played. Legend of Zelda 4 Swords.
I've played 4 Swords.
I've played it.
Okay, that's one game that if you had the Game Boy Advance to GameCube connectors, you could do 4-player co-op.
Well, I never had 4 friends or 4 cables.
No, so my brother and my sister and I would play it, and my brother usually got the 4th person, and we just named him Pinky. And we would basically judge if we could jump a gap by throwing him off of it. So it'd be like, hey, can we pass this? Yeah, send Pinky. It'd be like, Pinky, no, Pinky's dead. Because we would do awful things to Pinky. So just shout out to 4 Swords and 4-player co-op. And now I wish they made that online so we could all play it, but not on the Switch, on a real console.
R.I.P. Pinky.
R.I.P. Pinky.
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming.
Alrighty. So, on that bombshell, I just want to say one thing real quick. About
Skyrim's for the Nords.
So, yes, Skyrim is for the Nords. That's one. 2 is that I just want to, if Colin Moriarty ever hears this podcast, I want to thank him for inspiring me in politics and inspiring me in creating this gaming podcast. He's one of the reasons why I pursued this in the first place. Like pretty much on his own podcast, he says, if you want to do this, you got to do it. And the next week, I called Russell and said, hey, let's do this. And
that's beautiful.
He's someone I was extremely look up to, and I wish him the best of luck to whatever he's doing. So you can follow us, find us on Twitter at c.gamers, and you can find us on Facebook, like our Facebook page, the Crunchy.gamers. And please download episodes in iTunes. All of our episodes are there. Need to update the profile picture for that. Anyways,
YouTube as well.
You can find us on YouTube as well. Same name, doesn't change through the platforms.
But please don't find us in real life. We won't talk to you.
Yeah, please.
Unless you're interested.
Too real.
We'll actively ignore you.
We've got other things to do with our lives.
Like go to IHOP 4 times in one night.
Oh, God.
It was twice, and it was a magical experience where we...
It felt like 100.
Where we ordered milkshakes and got hot chocolate because we had a major miscommunication.
And our waiter was high as a kite.
Yeah, it was.
True story. If you go to an IHOP and you order a milkshake, you might get a hot chocolate.
If you go to an IHOP after midnight, you're entering a high hop, just so you know.
High hop. Oh, God. On that note, I've been Logan.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Russell.
And I'm Fitz. And thank you for joining us. Bada bing, bada boom. Coolest dudes in the room. See you later.
All right.